Welcome to ShouJoe, the podcast where me and my friend Joe go through shoujo anime, the genre of anime targeting young girls, which Joe has not seen, and hence the name ShouJoe. I'm your host, Sarah, and with me is the man, the myth, the legend, Joe.
I don't think I've warranted anything to have that kind of introduction, but thank you.
Sure.
Hello.
You do.
It's me. I'm in the name.
Anytime I talk about you to someone, I'm like, he's the most interesting person I've ever met in my entire life.
That's really sad. I don't think I'm interesting.
You had a freaking unicycle at one point.
Oh my god. That doesn't make me cool. That makes me I do cooler things now.
Oh god. Book clubs.
Like book clubs, that's right. I read books now. I'm different.
Yeah. Okay, so I'm hoping that by doing this podcast, it'll kind of reignite my anime watching, because I'll watch something periodically, but I typically like to think that I'm either in a reading phase, an anime phase, or a gaming phase, and I've just been in the gaming phase for quite some time.
I think that counts. I think it's just like, what have you been doing?
Okay.
What have you been gaming?
What have I been gaming? I've been playing through Monster Hunter World. Hopefully I can play Rise, which I own, and just sucker someone into buying it so that I can be held accountable by playing co-op. And then, I don't know, Monster Hunter Wilds is like the next one coming out that hopefully will be good. And then I need to play Horizon Zero Dawn so that it's fresh on my mind for when Forbidden West is finally released on PC. And Love Island's coming to an end, and the challenge is coming to an end. So there's going to be a huge void in my life where my reality TV was.
For anime, a huge void for anime.
Yeah, that's right.
Be able to watch everything that's come out in the last, 5 years.
No, that's not true. I cannot deal with all these crazy name animes. It just turns me off just reading the title alone. How high can you lift your dumbbells does not
Yeah, okay.
draw
we
me
need to explain
in.
that for people who are not like
You tell me, why is this happening? It all started with how to pick up girls in a dungeon, I feel like.
That is not...
No. Okay, that's the first one I can remember.
So the way the anime gets adapted, usually it's like a TV show. So sometimes it's like original stuff that people come up with, but a lot of the times it's adapted from a source material. And a lot of these shows are adapted from light novels, which are just kind of like
short stories,
like paperback kind of novels. Yeah, they're like, well, not short stories. They're like short, like you publish they're probably like 200 pages or something, and then like they do another one, like a serial kind of like novelization of a story, right? And because they make so many of those, or they have so many of those, and I think a lot of them are also grabbed from like websites and stuff that people will just like write kind of like their own things. People have given them really long titles to describe what the story is about, because that's the only part that a reader will read. So, like, you can't just give it a title because no one's going to read the description. So they end up naming all of these stories these incredibly long things that are, like, bizarre and weird, and then they get adapted into an anime with the exact same title.
I hate them all it so much.
Super bizarre.
Oh, God.
Yeah. I'm trying to think of some that are, like, especially egregious.
I guess I feel like one of the more popular ones is, what was it? I was reincarnated into a slime or something.
I was reincarnated. Okay, here's one. I have a list of upcoming anime.
Oh, dear God. Okay.
As a reincarnated aristocrat, I'll use my appraisal skill to rise in the world. That's the entire title.
Jesus Christ.
It's just a sentence. They just give a sentence.
Oh, God. See, that's like, ew. Why? I hate it.
I was reincarnated as the 7th prince so I can take my time perfecting my magical ability. This is what I'm saying. Like, this can't be a title.
Isekai, which is what? Where you, like, get brought into...
Isekai is a genre.
Yeah, a book or reincarnated. And
so, Isekai is a genre in which a character gets killed in the real world, and then they get reincarnated into or they get transported sometimes into a, like, fantasy world. And it's usually because most of these are like basically just like male power fantasy stuff where it's like, oh, my life sucks, but I'm good at video games. What if I got teleported to a video game world? Wow. Now I'm super cool and everybody likes me. And this has become extremely popular, I guess.
It's because of
Sword Art Online.
Yeah, that.
Like, this existed for a while. Like, I know that, like, Dot Hack did this and, like, some other stuff, but, like, Sword Art Online is the one that got super popular, and everybody just kept doing this forever until the end of time.
I guess that's the anime version of it, because I read a lot of webcomics online, and so a lot of, it's like Villainess is a whole subsection of isekai, where you are reading a book and then you get turned into the villain of the book and you know you're going to get killed by the end of it. So you try to change how your characters perceive so you don't get murdered. And that is so, it's kind of hard to not find those if you're looking at webcomics. It's so dominant as a topic. It feels unoriginal.
Yeah. It's like a really popular... This is like, I'm going to equate this to like, back in the olden days, the cinema used to make a Western every 5 minutes. And that is my equivalent of this. It's this, except being reincarnated into a video game.
Incredibly oversaturated.
Yeah.
Yeah, I haven't watched any.
I like 2 of them.
Not a one. None whatsoever.
You don't like any of them? Okay.
No. Well, I'm never going to try them because the names are so ridiculous.
Well, how can you say they're bad? I think you have to watch every single one of them and then rate them out of 10.
That's not this podcast.
That's the only way.
That's for the Patreon.
All this crap we hate. We're going to watch things we exclusively
Make me watch
have
the
no faith
shitty
in.
stuff. That's right.
So I have a funny story.
Yeah, tell us all about you, Joe.
So I've been watching Armored Trooper Bottoms. I just finished that. I mentioned it on the pilot episode, but I guess that hasn't been released to everybody. So
can I ask what Bottoms is? Because I just straight go to Bottoms.
It's like VOTOMS. It stands for something. I don't know. I think it stands like the whole premise is like there's this big forever war against these like 2 like galactic space powers. I think it's Balaron and Gilgamesh maybe, and they have been in a war for like 1,000 years or something. And they fight with these mechs that are like just kind of like these big armored suits that you like get in the top of, like in the head of and stuff like that. And you follow a guy named Kiriko who is like on a mission that he like doesn't understand because he got transferred to this unit and they end up like attacking their own ship on the same side. And he's really confused about that. And he runs and he like meets this woman who's like a weird genetic experiment. And then a bunch of crazy stuff happens. It's 52 episodes, which is way too long, but each like arc is just a different set piece for like, here's Kiriko, a really cool soldier guy, and he's gonna kill a bajillion dudes, and we're gonna get a lot of like war is hell, gritty stuff. And then the end is like insane. When you like the last 10 episodes where it reveals what the actual A plot about is like totally out of left field and is like completely bizarre, but is also pretty cool.
For the older anime like that, do they have filler then? Or did filler... I wonder if they waited until a manga or the source material was finished running before they adapted.
This, I think, was an original, so I don't think there's anything that's filler. So yeah, that I don't think there's any filler in it. It's just a long show that is like, they keep doing more things, and I'm like, you didn't have to do this thing.
Okay. Gotcha.
Anyway, the reason why this is funny is that I watched it. This is exclusively on HiDive, which I know we mentioned last time when we were talking about where people can watch Angelic Layer, which, by the way, you can watch it on YouTube. The English dub is on YouTube. You can watch it there. I signed up for HiDive like 2 months ago, and then 2 days ago, I got an email that's like, according to our records, you qualify for this settlement of this class action lawsuit against HiDive.
What?
I guess they were like sharing people's information.
Oh, snap.
It shouldn't have been or something. So like, oops.
Isn't that what also... Didn't Crunchyroll have that too? Or just everything? Everything has had that issue.
They probably have it. I don't know. I feel like there's like a data breach or something that's like, well, they should have caught this, so here's $5.
Oh, that's it?
I don't know how much it's going to be. It's not going to be very much.
Are you good? So you're proceeding with this?
Oh, I did. Yeah, I filled out that little form. I want that $5.
You're gonna make bank.
Listen, if you're ever part of a class action lawsuit, like settlement, you should take it. You should take the money. Take the money. ShouJoe podcast, take the money.
See, my mind immediately goes to Clash Action Park, that documentary about that New Jersey water park that was just sheer mayhem in the 80s. Which, if you haven't watched, you should. It's on HBO. Highly recommend.
Okay, I've never heard of this.
Well, this is because you don't consume super like morbid content like I do, where I just like listening to disasters and true crime and animal attacks and all that. So this is on my radar big time.
Yeah, I got my fill of that. I got my fill of that in like high school when I was on Reddit.
Oh,
and,
yeah.
Watch watch awful things happen. But I did a lot of that. And I'm like, actually, I'm good on watching awful things happen.
It's
Thank
tough.
you.
Like I follow. I think it's
you don't have to watch
subreddit of public outbreak or outrage or whatever.
It's public freak out.
Yeah, like Karens. I have gone through very long rabbit holes of just watching Karens and being totally outraged. Like, how can anyone act like
this?
this?
I think this is a bad way to spend your time.
Yeah, I know. I don't do too much.
This stuff. I don't think you should be watching like disaster porn or whatever. I think that's bad.
Well, not. I mean, it's like retellings of firsthand accounts. I'm trying to think of any other ones I've watched, but no, like freaking. Did I tell you that my Animal Attack podcast? Here's the plug for it. Tooth and Claw. Turns out they play Walkabout Mini Golf, and they just organically mentioned it, and then I was like, oh my, big googly eyes, like, oh my god, they play the game that my company makes. This is my in to talk to these podcast
This
hosts.
is my in.
Yeah.
I like your podcast about dogs attacking people.
Not dogs.
It's like mini golf.
It's a lot of bears. Let's see. I can
how much
drop so many facts.
I guess I'll just have to listen to this because I don't understand how much you could talk about bears attacking people. It kind of seems straightforward.
Well, one of them is a wildlife biologist, so there's some credibility to what he's saying.
Okay. Sure.
Like I made my sister listen. If I'm the one driving the long road trip, I get to pick what we're listening to. So we listened to like this early 1900s shark attack. Series of attacks in, I think, Jersey that maybe partially inspired Jaws. I was like, look now. And then I was quizzing her. I was like, look, now you know something about bull sharks. And yeah. Yeah. Okay.
Okay.
Yeah.
Good. We love animals.
Okay.
We love animal attacks here.
Well, yeah.
I hate HBO
People
documentaries,
suck.
but we love animal attacks.
Get them, critters.
Don't watch disaster porn. Learn about animal attacks. Like, wait, are you cheering for the animals in the animal attacks?
Well, they're just being animals, Like, I like how in national parks, if the behavior is within normal expected behavior of a bear or something, they won't kill them. They won't just
Bears got to grind XP somehow.
Well, because if they're guarding a carcass or if there's young nearby. If it's the problem is when it's like some kind of bear that's been habituated by people feeding it, and then it just, the fear of humans are gone, or they associate people with food. That's when. Or if they eat the body, because normally they won't eat a person if they attack them. It's normally to like remove a threat. But if they consume the body, then they get euthanized typically. Okay. This is so dark and off topic from the content of this
could happen in an Angelic Layer. I'm waiting for the bear attack arc.
There was a huge like Asiatic black bear attack in Japan, and it just like demolished a whole household and stuff. So it happens. They have bears there.
Oh, all right. Well, we'll be on the bear lookout.
Probably not Tokyo.
Inside of the metropolitan Tokyo area.
Yeah. Okay. I think that's enough about us.
We can get into the episode.
Yeah,
like
let's
I said,
do that.
You can watch these on YouTube. So if you want to watch these, if you haven't watched them yet and you've been wanting to, you can pause this now and go do that, and then make sure to come back. Time for summaries.
Yes, take it away.
This summary is basically the same length. I was hoping it was going to be shorter. It is not.
I mean, you can do more broad strokes.
Nope.
Okay, all in.
This is the only way. We talked about it last time. This is the only way some people will ever be able to experience the show because it doesn't exist anywhere. Except I just bought it on Blu-ray, so I'll have it. Angelic Layer episode 3 is called Why Are You...
Nope.
What? Okay, hold on. Wait, it's called Why Are You? I didn't read this. I just copied. What's it called?
Who are you? Misaki's nervous lesson.
Who are you? I typed why are you? All right. Angelic Layer episode 3. Who are you? Misaki's nervous lesson. We open on an Angelic Layer match in Kobe. The match is between a male doll named Wizard against an unnamed female opponent. Wizard pushes his opponent out of the lair and wins. We learn that this player is named Ojiro Mihara, and he has won 10 consecutive matches, which qualifies him to the Kansai Games. We then cut to school, where Tamayo explains to Misaki that she's learning like 10 different types of martial arts. Kataro complains that she learns these by practicing on him since they were 4, and Tamayo rebuts by saying that Kataro knows karate, so he could prevent himself from like dying or anything actually damaging when she attacks him. Then she reveals that she also dresses him up in girl clothes sometimes, and his classmates all laugh at him. Katara taking huge L's this episode. We transition to a conversation between Ogata and Ichan. Ichan is demanding that Ogata gets an angel card for Misaki, which will get her into the upcoming tournament. Ogata wants to know why this, or who this card is going to be for, and Ichan makes him guess. He guesses wrong, and his punishment is to eat spaghetti through his nose, which he does for some reason. Or at least he starts to do. We don't see him actually do the whole thing, thank God. On the way home, Kotaro and Tomoya ask Misaki if she's going to enter the Angelic Layer tournament, but this is the first time she's hearing about it. This might have been said before, but this is the part where it kind of clicks to me that the dolls are called angels and the players are called deises, like God. It's like God and angel. So I'm going to use that term from now on, if I remember. Kotaro reveals that Hatoko will be at the tournament, but doesn't say in what capacity, although it's going to be pretty obvious. Tomoyo and Kotaro leave, and Tomoyo chastises Kotaro for not calling Misaki by her nickname and for being shy. Misaki runs into Ichan, who congratulates her for winning her first match, but tells her that she needs to actually train if she wants to win. He takes her to a practice area and explains how to make her angel move more agilely. Misaki wonders if by sending Hikaru commands through her mind, Hikaru can understand what she's thinking, but Ichan reminds her that she's just a doll. Then he produces a boombox and starts dancing. He tells Misaki to have Hikaru dance along with the song, and she does, but she's not really sure if this counts as practicing. The scene then transitions to a facility where Athena and Misaki's mom are practicing by dancing to the same song. Two assistants explain to the audience that dancing is a good way for agile-type angels to learn how to react quickly. Misaki's song ends, and she notices that Ichan is left. She goes to restart the song, but she stops when Ojiro and Wizard randomly show up. There's like a scene where Wizard just dramatically descends onto the layer table and approaches Hikaru, and it's very weird.
Very menacing music playing.
Yeah, it seems like he's gonna just like start fighting. And Misaki's very confused by the interaction until Ojiro turns on the music and Wizard starts dancing. Misaki and Hikaru join in and they all dance together. When the song ends, Ojiro asks if he can practice with her since all the other tables are occupied, and Misaki agrees. They practice together and Ojiro compliments Misaki on her improved dancing, and they introduce themselves to each other, and then Ojiro leaves. As he leaves, 3 high school girls come in and try to take Misaki's table by beating her in a match. Misaki agrees, thinking that they just want to practice with her, but then she's surprised when they start a fight, or they try to start a match with her. They tell her that the term to do it means to fight. And she's like, okay, well, I didn't know that.
Everybody knows that.
They bully her. Everybody knows that. They bully her into fighting, and she finally agrees. Hikaru and her opponent Queen face off. Queen takes out 2 electrified whips and starts attacking Hikaru. The bully's internal monologue reveals that electric whips are actually banned in Angelic Layer, but they're banking on the fact that beginners like Misaki are not going to know the rules, and so they can win easy matches to boost her win ratio, even though later on Ichan says this is an unofficial match, so I don't really know whose win ratio this is supposed to be. Hikaru struggles to find an opening and gets caught in a whip attack. Ichan shows back up and is annoyed that her opponent is using electric whips, but doesn't say anything when he sees Misaki concentrating. Misaki starts to make Hikaru dance. Using the beats of the song, she's able to quickly get inside of Queen's defenses and push her out of the layer, winning the match. Her opponent gets angry and leaves. Ichan congratulates Misaki for winning her match and gives her an angel card, and then he tells her that he's entered her into the tournament as we cut to credits.
Okay, so a more like casual paced episode in comparison, because the last 2 were pretty like packed with a bunch of stuff. Like the one lull before next episode where it like goes right back up to intense happenings.
Well, I think this is kind of the reveal that like this is a sports anime, kind of. I mean, not really, but kind of, right? Where it's like, this is the training episode because this is a sport, and like we need to show our character getting better at the sport, or else it won't make sense when she starts doing better later on, right?
Well, I made a note that, see, this is why it feels different than Shonen, because we're not spending like freaking 20 episodes on training, and we just get straight to it. But somehow it doesn't feel rushed. I mean, they don't explicitly say what the time difference is between this episode and the next. But yeah, most shonen...
it's like a week. I think they say it's like a week until the tournament.
Most shonen take forever.
I mean, part of it is because like Angelic Layer as a game is more about like concentrating and visualizing and stuff. Like the thing that makes... So if you've watched a lot of shonen anime, you know that like the thing they usually do is they introduce some kind of like magic system or like some magic equivalent system, and then they have to like explain the rules of like how superpowers can happen. Angelic Layer doesn't do that. They're just like, yeah, you have a doll, you can visualize it. That's basically it. Like, it's really just about, are you able to concentrate? Are you able to react? That kind of thing. So there's not the explanation part that I think a long time in shonen stuff, because there's not that much to explain here, because this is a very like use your imagination kind of thing.
Okay, my first two notes, the first being the fight music is so good.
I don't remember the fight music.
What? Oh, I made like 4 different notes saying how much I like the music. Like, the music's really good.
Okay. I remember it being good. I just don't remember the fight music specifically.
You're looking at my screen, right? My second note, it is so old. Like, all the NPCs
Angelic Layer and Kobe!
Stationary. Nobody moves.
It's like a huge arena. They're playing in like a huge arena.
Yeah. Okay, look at that. Okay, my second note is that dog's face fucked up. Look at that dog's face.
So in the beginning of the episode, it like does a cut to like the arena and it like zooms in, and then it cuts to like 2 kids sitting on a fountain and the guy with his dog. And this dog is looking like droopy. He looks like he's melted.
Yeah.
I mean, I guess that kind of dog looks like that. I don't know
like
what it's
a bloodhound, kind of, or basset hound or something.
It's
good.
Oh
my god. Yeah.
Look at that little dog.
That drew my attention for like a 2-second pan. Oh dear. Okay, and then my third note was Wizard's pretty cool looking, because this is our first introduction to a male dog.
Wizard. Why is his name? He doesn't look like a wizard at all.
No,
I'm mad about this.
I don't know.
He has like basically like, what's he wearing? Like a big trench coat kind of thing with like really extended shoulder pads that go out to like the left and right by like a foot. Foot relative to him, not like a foot in real life. And like he's just wearing, it's just like this big coat, and he's got gloves, and that's it. He's called Wizard.
I don't know.
Why is he called Wizard? If he doesn't cast a spell.
We see one character named Colossus, so you can just name doll whatever you want.
That's true. I feel like you should be a little bit on theme, though. I feel like you should try to be on theme a little bit.
So what do you think of Ojiro? As this is our introduction to him.
Yeah, he seems fine. Like, he seems nice. Like, we meet him, like, he's really good. His introduction's really weird when he just, like, shows up and, like, stops her from turning on the music and then puts his doll in the thing and then turns it on without saying anything. It's, like, a very bizarre thing to do. I know, is he gonna be, like, a romantic interest or something? Because, like, he is tall and he is good at Angelic Layer.
Yes. So on the opening fight where it's him and he wins and he stands up and like waves to the crowd, it's such typical like anime girl swooning voices, like, oh my Ojiro!
Yeah, Brad favorite.
Yeah, so he's obviously being introduced as like the pretty boy that all the girls love.
Yeah, I'll have to wait and see what I think about him later.
Okay.
I'm gonna talk about Hunter x Hunter later in this episode, so remind me to do that.
Freaking love Hunter x Hunter.
Because I'm watching it for the first time, and I'm like up to, I don't know, the part where they have that auction.
Yeah.
And like the stuff I watched before where they're in like this big battle tower, a lot of that same stuff is happening in Angelic Layer right now, which I think is very odd, because like the whole pushing someone out of the ring, just like physically pushing them, is like a thing that happens in Hunter x Hunter a lot, and that's the way Wizard wins his fight.
I mean, it's kind of like boxing-esque.
I do have a note. About Ojiro that says he takes off his helmet he takes off his headset to reveal the most normal-looking anime guy.
Yeah,
he's just a guy.
I mean, in this series, it's the dolls that are all cool-looking, so I guess it makes sense that all the like humans are pretty just typical, normal-looking people.
Wizard should have a beard. He should have a big beard.
What? As a wizard?
He should be casting some spells.
Here's what I don't understand. A lot of these, like, even Wizard has, and it's interesting, because it does seem like they're maybe trying to pair them romantically, because both their dolls are very similar aesthetics. With the kind of big, thick boots, and the, white and blue and white and red, and the, like, the little visor, or the like headpiece, the earpiece that sticks out. Hikaru has 2 and Wizard just has 1. But they have various, and then the freaking weird tassel, like long tassel rope thing. Hikaru has 2, but I'm like, you guys, that's like just asking to be grabbed by those things and chucked out of the ring. Like, I wouldn't want any dangly, loose anything on my doll that someone else's doll could just grab.
It's not gonna look cool then.
I guess, but I mean,
listen, this is a sport about fighting, but it's also a sport about fashion.
Some people are not getting the memo on that, because this chick in this fight looks stupid. Like
Queen?
She looks
like a dominatrix.
Not that one. The one that Wizard's fighting. It looks like she's a transformer that's going to turn into a plane, because she's got like this.
Oh my god! If she turned into a car, that would be so good.
Yeah, but yeah, Queen looks, I don't know, just badly made, like cheap materials.
She's like a dominatrix. She's got like the corset. She's got
the
like the
mask like doesn't match. I do like the a leather strap with a buckle thing. That's nice.
He uses 2 electric whips, which is a guy they fight in Hunter x Hunter also uses 2 electric whips. That was funny. Okay, so I'm gonna talk like at length about a thing later on. But this is kind of the first time it's marked. It's like when Tamayo is talking about how she does all these martial arts and Misaki is like, I am not athletic. Like, I don't do athletic stuff.
Yeah.
Like, she's not an athlete, but she clearly wants to be. I'm going to come back to that. The other thing that happens...
Put a pin in it.
The other thing that happens is Misaki starts calling Kotaro-chan.
I made that note, too. I was like, I guess she just went with whatever Tamayo was calling it, which, I was like, poor guy.
Dude just takes L's this whole episode.
Okay, so I made a note that the gym shorts in some animes are insane, but then I went into deep dive reading about them, so I guess they call them bloomers. And they first got introduced to Japan, I think, through the Olympics, because their volleyball team won, but then everyone was saying how the other team looked cooler because they had the tight little shorts. And I guess bloomers in Japan were originally kind of puffy. And then that just kind of bled into school athletic wear.
Actually wear these?
No, okay,
so what we're describing is they're wearing their like athletic clothes because they're in gym, and they wear like long sleeve shirts, but then the girls wear like shorts that are like a 1-inch inseam
essentially underwear cut, which
it's very like a leotard almost, and then the guys just wear normal like basketball shorts.
In the 90s, I guess in a Japanese school in Singapore, there's a student protest to these because they were tired of getting unwanted attention from having to wear these. And
so they did wear them.
Yes, but since the 90s, it's gone out of style, but it's lived on in infamy through anime.
Great, love that. Love to give the women unwanted attention by making them wear these stupid shorts.
Yes. Well, because I guess it was like a lot of people had issues with the, because you're trying to wear underwear under that, and freaking underwear probably covers more than the damn shorts, so probably have to deal with them peeking out. I would be pissed.
Was a bad plan.
Yes. I mean, I understand that it's like minimal friction with clothing, but oh god.
I mean, they had I guess like athletic clothes got better over time. So like
I think like,
as spandex stuff
material, it became more affordable.
Like bike shorts exist now.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was weird.
Oh, and then so is it Deuce or Deus?
Deus.
Okay. Well, I was like, okay, so I'm not very cultured in the religious stuff. You said that's in reference to like God and angel. And then I was like, okay, so maybe it's like Amadeus, like Rock Amadeus. You know that Rock Me Amadeus song,
What is that? Oh. The song? Yeah. I don't know what this is. What is this song?
Amadeus. I don't sing. Sorry.
I don't know what this song is.
You can look it up later. Rock Me Amadeus. It's like an 80s song or 90s or something. But I was like, okay, so maybe that. I was like, I'm assuming that's some kind of God reference.
Yeah, so Deus is Latin for God.
Okay.
And then angel is the English word for angel. Mm-hmm. And the relationship between gods and angels is that they're like your little agents, more or less.
Uh-huh.
They carry out your will, etc., etc.
Yeah.
Which is what's, I guess, happening in Angelic Layer.
My next note is about the spaghetti punishment.
Oh, yeah, I have that.
Like,
I just have, why is he doing that?
Dude.
Why is he doing it? He starts,
just wait till he leaves and say he did it.
So you technically
or quit your job.
Eat spaghetti up your nose because it like is thin enough to go through your like nasal cavity, but
disgusting.
Like there were meatballs on that plate. That was not going to work. You couldn't do that.
So gross. I hate it.
My next note is Katara doesn't call her by her nickname, and Tamayo's like rizzing him, being like, "Oh, why are you too shy? Why are you so shy?
Yeah,
I'm helping you out so much. I'm like pointing out how much of a huge loser you are. Like
worst wingman ever.
Man. Yeah, it's so funny."
Okay, so
he's just like a generically nice guy. I don't know.
Yeah, he's not very remarkable. Although he is a good commentator for the sideline for viewers, I guess.
I like him. He's not bad.
Yeah. So this is when they're walking home that they were doing that, but also it keeps happening where they cut off Kotaro talking about his sister Hatoko doing Angelic Layer, and I made a note that they always do this in shonen where like there's a character that we get. It's like implied that they do cool stuff, but it like keeps being put off that we get to see it. Normally it's like some old man character, I feel like, but in this it's the 5-year-old girl who's, a beast.
Yeah. I mean, next episode it's gonna be revealed that she's like a heavyweight.
Mm-hmm. And then
she's very good at fighting.
I made a note that now I'm hearing her say "yeah" all the time.
She does every time she's like confused instead of saying like what, because like what in Japanese is nani, and she says like yeah.
I also made a note because I went back and looked because you commented on Aunt Shoko's wall art, and you're right. It's bad.
It's like so bad.
A 2-year-old finger painted them.
Why'd she buy it? We don't see Aunt Shoko this episode, or in these 2 episodes. My next thing is about Ichan, and how Ichan is basically just her dad. Like, he plays the coach character. He is like her coach.
The mentor, kind of.
He's the only adult who spends time with her.
That's so sad.
It's so sad.
I know. I was talking to my mom last night, and she's like, this girl sounds way too young to be traveling on train by herself. Because she's still slowly trying to process what Shoujo is. And yeah, she doesn't know anything about Japan. But I was like, yeah, there's like a whole freaking Netflix show about kids going and running errands at the age of like 5 by themselves.
But like, Ichan is playing this role of like, hey, I'm going to allow you, or I'm going to like be your mentor through this thing that you want to do that's like going to be very important to like your development. And that's basically like a dad character.
Yeah.
He's got.
For sure.
Only parental figure she has right now.
So sad. I know, I feel like her aunt is not a great option. She's more responsible than her aunt.
Well, and like the way he talks about it's also pretty good. Like you know, when they're talking about the doll and she's like, oh, I wonder if Hikaru would hear me. And she's like, well, you know, she's a doll. But like the whole point of this is to have fun. Oh, I was going to say, yeah, she mentions that like, oh, if I like put her on the layer, can I like make her smile at me? And he's like, yeah, but only on the layer. You can't just do it outside there.
Think bigger, kid.
Okay, but like this is a kid that's clearly, this is what I'm saying. Like she's so starved of attention that she's like bonding with this doll.
So sad. And this random man.
Yeah, he's like the coolest adult to her. In her world, this is the coolest adult. He's like the only one taking an interest in stuff that she's interested in. He's like helping her out.
But he's also only at his convenience because he keeps disappearing and leaving her alone.
He does keep disappearing, which is pretty funny.
So I have a note for when it's Athena doing the practice to the dancing as well. That because clearly one of the ladies commenting has been there a while, and then we have the new one who's there to ask the dumb questions for the sake of the audience. They make a comment saying how, okay, so this is how a lightweight like Athena is able to be successful, kind of making the implication that before her, only heavyweight dolls were able to kind of be on top, which I thought was an interesting thing to note.
Yeah, we see Athena doing the dance, but her version of it is like way more complicated.
Yes.
And like involves like jumping around and stuff. Whereas like Hikaru's dance is just like pivoting and like spinning and stuff. Dance training. Gotta be really good at rhythm games to be good at Angelic Layer.
God, that's what all my Beat Saber's been in practice for. In Dance Central. Right. Oh God. I want Angelic Layer to be real. I want to make my own doll. Be so sick. So in the fight with Queen, I'm like, how long are these cables? Because some of them are standing so far away from the layer, but they have like a cable dangling. And I feel like with this technology, it should be wireless, you know, like silly to be plugged in.
The wire to the table. I mean, they sit in a chair. Like, you have to sit in the chair to, like, play, so I think it makes sense. You don't want that delay. It's your mind-brain waves. You gotta react quickly.
Oh, that's true. That's so
Without
true.
Without the wired connection, there'd be so much delay.
Right.
Queen's fight is the first appearance of weapons. First time a weapon shows up.
Mm-hmm.
Dude, high schoolers are so mean in this world. It's very funny.
I was gonna say, yeah, that girl is clearly a high schooler, and this is just some 12-year-old that's just like, I'm gonna freaking demolish this child.
Hikaru wins by doing a dance and then like running in between strikes and then jumping and then pushing her out.
Yeah, I feel like she keeps having these fights where it's one move is doing it, which doesn't seem practical.
She does one explosive move that usually involves jumping at the last second and getting inside of someone's defenses and then pushing them out. That's her deal.
Yeah.
Which, like, that's a strategy. I mean, I think there is... I'm not a big, like, fighting games kind of person, but I know that there are, like, strategies that are basically, like, if you can just get an opponent into a combo that can do, like, 60% of their health 2 times, you win. So, like, this is a type of... I mean, not like a one-hit kill, but there is, you know... This is a style that you see in some games.
Mm-hmm. But you like a grind.
High risk, high reward.
So you'd be all about that slow beat down of them.
Oh, yeah. I'm like... I want this match to last approximately 2 hours. I want this to be a miserable experience for both of us. I want you to regret ever challenging me to a fight. No, I don't know. I don't play fighting games like that.
No. So we have the first kind of more in-depth thought of what the entry call is gonna be in this fight. She just says, "Go, Hikaru!"
That when she throws her in, yeah.
I made another note. This music is so good. And then I said, is there a black market for Angelic Layer accessories? Is that where this chick got these freaking electric whips?
I mean, I guess if they're banned, they had to have not been banned at one point, right?
I guess so. The final note I had was maybe she didn't want to do the tournament, dude. Like, she's just getting started.
Oh, she so did. Come on.
I'd be peeing my pants. Like, oh my God.
Yeah, well, he's like pushing her out of her comfort zone.
Yeah,
This is what I'm saying. He's like the coach figure for her.
Freaking episode 4, which we're about to go into. We're already into a tournament. That's so fast.
Yep. Next episode is a tournament.
Every shonen has a tournament arc.
I guess I can get into it. Episode 4 is called The Day an Angel Flew Down. We open on the tournament. It's here. It's a huge event for all the players in Tokyo. In the control room, Ichan instructs Ogata to record all of Misaki's matches. Ogata is confused as to why Ichan would want to do this, and guesses that it's because Misaki is his estranged child, which... Good guess, Ogata, because that's basically true. As punishment for being wrong, Ichan puts clothespins all over his face. Misaki, Tamayo, and Kataru take their seats, and Misaki shows them her battle phrases that she's supposed to say when the match starts, and she throws her doll into the arena. The tournament begins with its opening ceremony, then the first match starts. Misaki goes backstage to prep for her match. Tamayo asks Kataru if he thinks Hatoko will be okay, but he's not worried since she's like a tournament vet. She's been here a lot. Tamayo jokes that he's more worried about his crush than his sister, and then they get in a little comedy fight. Misaki gets her registration and sees a lot of really stressed out and kind of hostile players as they wait for their matches. Eventually, she runs into Hatoko, who's hanging out in the waiting room. Hatoko tells her that Misaki's match is right after hers and gives her some advice about not being nervous. We cut to 2 girls watching a match complaining that it's so bad. Two other girls come by and say that Suzuka's match is next, which is the name of a doll. Hatoko goes to her match and it's revealed that her angel's name is Lightspeed Suzuka because she's so quick. Suzuka is like dressed like a ninja kinda and wins her match by kicking her opponent in the face immediately, like within seconds of the match starting. Those girls that were watching approve of her performance. Back in the waiting room, Misaki congratulates Hatoko on winning, and Hatoko tells her that she can be great too because size or age doesn't matter for Angelic Layer. Misaki's battle starts. She throws Hikaru in the ring with her new entry phase. Wings of an angel, please guide me and Hikaru, which is bad grammar in the English translation. It should be Hikaru and me. Thank you. Her opponent's angel's name is Katarina. Am I saying that right? Katrina? Is it
Katarina?
Katarina, okay. And her entry phrase is dance on the layer, listen to the wind's voice, Katarina, which I feel like is kind of cooler. Katarina is an ice skater. She has skates on and she kind of like skates around the arena and stuff. She starts skating around the ring and Misaki has a hard time following it. In the control room, Ichan comments that Katarina is a speed type fighter, but she takes time to accelerate. Ogata comments that Hikaru has already lost the chance to attack early. Katarina at full speed starts spinning with a leg up so that her skate is like exposed, and she grazes Hikaru's hair by kicking. Then Katarina kicks the shit out of Hikaru and takes off like half of her health meter. Kataru comments that all her power is coming from spinning, which increases her like force. And as long as she's spinning, she's a threat. Misaki tries to think of a plan while Hikaru dodges. Misaki settles on a risky plan and sends Hikaru running directly at Katarina. She dodges the kick, jumps in the air, and strikes her from above, kicking her in the face and pushing her out of the lair. The girls who watched Hatoko comment that Misaki also seems like an interesting player, and then back in the waiting room, Hatoko congratulates Misaki on her win and asks her if she loves Angelic Layer as much as she does. Misaki says she really loves Angelic Layer, and they shake hands as we cut to credits.
Another freaking one-hit win.
Another one-hit win. Dude, she kicks her so good. There's 2 one-hit wins, because when Hatoko wins her match, it's incredible.
Yeah, she's freaking badass.
She just, she runs forward. Okay, so I want to talk about Suzuka.
She's freaking
cool
awesome.
doll.
Yes.
A very cool doll.
She's very sexy for a 5-year-old's doll.
Yeah, she's like a female ninja, like the hot
she's
female
got,
ninja
like,
kind of thing.
Under chain mesh and
she's got mesh. She's got the bodysuit. She has like these huge like shoulder pads. And she has like little things dangling off that are bells.
Yes, she has a big bow. And yes, I love the bells. It's so cool.
And she's wearing like all black. It's cool.
Yeah, she's awesome. Because this is one of the angels that we saw in episode 2 that they were reviewing footage of. I don't know if you remember that. You're right. She was one of those.
I do remember that. Okay.
Yeah, she's so freaking cool. When did Hatoko start doing this? She's 5, but she's a veteran. Like, was she doing this when she's 3? So there should be age restrictions.
No, but this is the whole thing. The whole thing is that, like, age doesn't matter in Angelic Layer.
I know, but I feel like
this is an important part. I'm going to talk about this when we get to that point.
Violence.
Kids love violence.
I
The children
guess so.
crave it.
Okay, I was gonna say I had one more note. So I watched the fight in English as well, and in that the entry call is, I think it sounds better in the English translated. It says, "Angel wings, please guide me in Hikaru," which sounds better than Wings of an Angel.
But I hate this because you know who uses angel wings? Her mom's doll. Athena has angel wings, and her mom ain't guiding her to shit. Her mom sucks.
That's true.
Anyway. My first note is Misaki might as well be Ichan's estranged child because he's the only one who pays attention to her.
That's no joke. That's no joke.
Like, we see, like, when she's in the tournament, like, she's, like, walking through, like, the registration zone or whatever, and she sees, like...
I know, there's one, like, dance mom, but Angelic Layer dad.
Yeah. Like, there's people with their kids, and there's, like, people with their friends, and, like, Misaki's just by herself. Like... She does not have anybody with her in the waiting room. I mean, Tamayo and Kitaru are, like, watching, but they're also watching Hatoko, so they're not going with her. That seems very lonely.
Yeah. When she gets in that waiting room, I put freaking, all these chicks have RBF big time.
Oh my god.
Resting bitch face. They all look so angry. Aggressive. You know, no nervous, like, concerned look, all scowling. Very intimidating.
They're getting in the zone. This is what sports is like. This is why I don't like sports.
I guess I was just a casual participant with sports.
Yeah, I'm not big into, like, contests. My next note is that this arena is cool as hell. Like, the big arena where they fight is like a... Like, there's, like, a big ring. They have the layer, which is, like, this big table. The announcer is, like, in a chair that's, like, connected by an arm that, like, articulates and, like,
all over
goes
the place.
Around. And the chairs that the dais sits in also is, like, a big chair that is, like, on an arm that can be, like, raised up and down. Mm-hmm. It's cool.
I know. The budget of this thing is insane.
It's
I wonder
rad.
if you had to pay to go. Surely you do.
Oh, of course. Yeah, you have to pay to get in, for sure. You always think about the economics of this.
You're
always asking about the money.
I'm just poverty struck in disbelief all the time.
Angelic Layer, get that money. The first fight that starts, but we don't see because she goes backstage. Those are mixed gender Deus Angel pairs, both of them. Like, I think the guy has a girl doll and the high schooler has, like, a guy doll, I think.
I mean, it's like in video games where dudes always play as chicks because you'd rather be staring at a girl's ass than a dude's for a 60-hour game campaign.
Not why I do that. Thank you.
Okay. No, okay. Never mind then. Or the smaller hit, or the smaller, like, target or something. That's
the smaller hitbox. I don't think that actually happens. Sometimes people just have cooler designs.
I guess so.
Kitaru isn't worried about Hatoko. And, like, the girls that are watching seem to imply that Hatoko, they, like, say a line that I don't know if this is translated perfectly or, like, whatever. But one of them says we'll make her runner up this time, which makes it sound like Hatoko won last time.
That is what it sounded like. I mean, it could be just like a smaller competition that they got second place to her or something.
Maybe.
Like, not this,
but, like, it's very funny.
I mean, this is qualifiers, right? So obviously Wizard
true.
Was at a different regional qualifier, and this is just the Tokyo version, and then we'll move to where all the different places come together.
But it's just interesting because, like, earlier in the episode, Tamayo is, like, making fun of Kitaru for not being worried about Hatoko, but it kind of seems like he doesn't have to be. It kind of seems like Hatoko just owns everybody and everybody else sucks.
I put Tamayo as such a troll, and I love when she's just, like, beating the shit out of Kitaru, just, like, whack, whack, whack. I had another note of music is on point. If I had an angel, okay, because they essentially have ring girls that are angels who are, like, hold up the card saying round whatever. I feel like they could have made them cuter. Like, they're pretty plain looking. And then also, if I had an angel, I would just make sure the clothes covered all the joints because they look so realistic, except when you see, like, the little knee cut out on some of them where you're like, oh yeah, these are little toys. So I'd have all those things covered up. Breaks the illusion.
But I mean, I don't know. Hatako's opponent, it's like a battle nurse. I mean, she gets owned immediately, so we don't see anything she does. But she does just have, like, a nurse's outfit on, which is pretty funny.
Yes, I know. It's like, I guess you just gotta embrace. I mean, it makes sense if you want to be more marketable to have a very distinct look. But yeah, she got wrecked by a 5-year-old. And I also said I could see like the styles that people put on their angels that are successful and have more exposure affecting like real life fashion trends. Like I could see people wanting to kind of wear clothes inspired by more popular Angelic Layer dolls.
Oh, sure. Yeah. I bet that's like, or I would make it a big part of this if I was making this.
So it looks like here in this competition, at least, it's a 10-minute time limit to each round.
Yeah, because Misaki almost runs out of time in her match because like basically her opponent, like the ice skater, just like beats her up a bunch and her score is really low. And the commentator is like, well, if the round ends, it's whoever has like the most, like the higher health bar, basically.
Wins,
so
yeah.
She would lose if she didn't do anything. And again, jumps and then kicks. She kicks this time instead of pushes. But
okay,
jump kick.
Yeah, like they're changing it up slightly.
Do you have any more notes or can I get to my main thesis?
Yes, let's hear it. Let's give it to us.
So the last note I have is that Angelic Layer is a show that imagines a world where esports weren't so misogynistic. What if you had esports that didn't suck? And were cool, actually. Yeah. Because, like, the whole premise of, like, anything that's been going on, like, the last episode, like, in the first episode, we see Hikaru, and she is, like, concerned, or she feels bad for being small.
Misaki.
And that, we commented, like, or Misaki, sorry. And we commented, like, that seemed a little kind of out of nowhere. But then in the last episode where she talks about how she's like not athletic, it's the thing where she clearly wants to do sports, but she just doesn't have the body for it, right? Mm-hmm. Isn't going to be able to compete in sports in a way that's fun for her because those games are not designed for someone of her build, right?
Yeah.
And then the thing that Hatoko says at the end about like, oh, Angelic Layer doesn't like discriminate in terms of like size or age or any of that stuff is like why she likes it so much because this is actually a sport that she can engage with.
Equalizer.
Which, like, really, yes, which really is what the promise of esports should be. You don't need to worry about like your physicality so much in esports. I mean, there are some cases where like accessibility is kind of an issue sometimes, but like the barrier to entry to esports is much lower in terms of like how tall you are doesn't really matter, how much muscle mass you have doesn't really matter, how old you are not that important. It should be esports should be a venue where people are equalized, but it's not because we live in a garbage culture, and it's just like run by like the worst, most misogynistic dudes. It's like imagine all the worst guys who are the most annoying. Those are all the people that are in esports.
I don't know, I've never attended because it's never remotely interested in me watching a bunch of dudes play first-person shooters.
Yeah, well, I mean, there's like a lot of different kinds. Like, there's a lot of different types of games that have esports. But there's two problems. One is like they're all corporate, right? So it's like they like run how things are going. Mm-hmm. And the second part is like it's so dude heavy. Like they're all guys. It's
toxic game culture, Like,
yeah, it's like the worst guys too. It's like all of the really annoying ones. It's super sexist. I mean, like you can read like I've read some like testimonials by like women that are in esports that like prefer women only like events. Which is clearly like a cultural thing because there's no reason why like being a guy or a chick would like make a difference in terms of like how good you are at pressing buttons, right?
Yeah.
It's all like the culture. Like, do you want to play against a bunch of people who are like huge assholes to you, or do you want to play against a bunch of people who are going to be like cool and normal? Which just sucks.
I am much more a single player kind of gamer, but during that phase where I was into Halo Reach and back when game chat was more of a thing, either people hit on you or I don't know about luckily, it was more of that for me, but also people just being like, get out of here, dumb girl, which I feel like is probably the worst. Well, I don't know, because then they like leave you a DM afterwards like, ooh, what's up? And then
these spaces really attract the worst kind of guy and don't police them or like don't try to do anything to compensate for them at all. It sucks.
When I was in college and I did competitive paintball, I was the only girl at our school competing. There's barely any other girls competing. As far as like pro leagues and like all female teams, from what I saw, like one of their freaking YouTube channels was just them mud wrestling. And I was like, dear God, this is just catering to the male fantasy. And this isn't like a true like all girls team. And because that's a game where, it doesn't as much matter what your size or gender is. I mean, possibly per what position you play in, because there's like, if you're kind of bigger, you probably just want to not have to move as much and stay behind bigger bunkers. But it's not as big of an element in paintball.
Right.
but there's still not that much female. I mean, that's more IRL aggression that you had to muster, I guess. Like one time I had these girls come up to me and be like, oh my God, you're so brave and blah, blah, blah.
Mhm.
I guess we don't all have a deep-seated like beast waiting to be released, and you know they ring the buzzer to say the game's over, but you have extra padding in your head and your face mask so you can't hear, so you're still shooting people after the point's already ended, and they're like, stop.
Uh-huh.
That's
how I always think of you. The inner beast violating the rules.
Yeah,
shooting people after time.
Yeah, that's me.
But yeah, so I like this. I mean, this is a shonen show. This should be a shoujo show. I mean, it really is just about like, what if you could like experience sports in a way that isn't irritating and kind of annoying and like dealing with like a bunch of the worst guys. What if esports were fun? Asks Angelic Layer. And I think this should be reality. They should make this for real.
Yeah, well, this podcast, once it makes it big, it's going to have people thinking about that, and then it's going to change.
Yeah, but like you
The
just
whole world.
know that like this is why like Ichan actually rules, because he's like, oh yeah, anybody can play this. This would be great. Like imagine, like I could imagine this if Netflix was going to make a live action garbage remake of this show. Like Ichan would be like a shitty crypto dude or something. Like he would just be like the biggest fucking loser of all time.
Yeah.
Like in real life, he'd be like an Elon Musk adjacent asshole. Because that's what we have in the real world.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Anyone who makes a tech company is in it for themselves and not for the sake of, you know, people can just do it no matter who they are. I mean, we'll later in the show kind of discover the motivation of starting Angelic Layer, and that'll give Ichan more depth as a character. I mean, this is only episode 4.
Wouldn't this be cool though if we had like esports where like somebody was playing against a kindergartner and it was just like everybody was just cool about it? That would own. But we don't have that because everything's stupid.
You preach.
And I hate that. Listen, I used to pay attention to the competitive Smash Brothers tournament, and then it turns out all those guys are like weird sex pests who suck.
Oh,
and it's like, of course.
Yeah, I don't like Smash, but I might be going to a tournament for one actually for the sake of research and work. So I'll get to firsthand witness how that looks.
Listen, if your sport attracts too many, like, too online guys that are, like, Redditors and 4chaners, it's gonna be bad. You're just gonna have a bad time.
Yeah.
You're just gonna have, this is just a loser convention.
Okay.
Yeah, maybe one day. One day we can have good esports. Not now.
No, I know.
Definitely not right now.
Once Walkabout Mini Golf has its own thing, then it'll be the pure-hearted joy.
Is this what you want? Competitive?
I mean,
competitive.
We do have intense players. They're like, oh, I know an angle for every hole, blah, blah, blah. It's because I feel like first-person shooters it's really competitive. Like, there's no other way to enjoy it but trying to be the best, whereas something like mini golf, which does have competitive capabilities, but it's more so just for the fun of it. So I think we need more fun.
More fun.
Yeah, more fun games where it's more about that than winning, I guess. But there is a winning element.
Yeah. I mean, that's what Ichan says. He's like, she's a doll. The point is to have fun playing with her. The point of Angelic Layer is to have fun.
A beautifully simple concept.
Too bad. Nobody fun is banned. This show's good.
Yeah, you want it to be real. What I wanna, maybe for the end we should each draw our own angel and name them.
Oh, how we would design an angel?
Yeah, that'd be fun.
That'd be good. I can't draw, so it's gonna be
sure you can.
More. Yeah, okay. But yeah, this show's good. I'm glad we're watching it first. I do think this should count as a shoujo.
Yeah. Okay. Good. That makes me feel better. Oh god.
If you wanna learn more about sexism in video games, there's an episode that just came out of Game Studies Study Buddies, which is a podcast where they read stuff called Gaming Sexism. You should listen to that.
Yeah.
If you want to know more, because Jesus Christ, I hate gamers. Gamers are so bad. Ugh.
I mean, honestly, because
you work for the video game company.
Well, okay, here's the thing. It's very different because this is the second video game company I've worked for, right? The first one was much more what you would imagine. But this one I'm at, Mighty Coconut, it originated as an animation studio first. So maybe something with that, because it's like a lot of the people who work there are not gamers or super dedicated, intense gamers. So I don't know if that lends itself to the culture being non-toxic, but like there's never been anything like that at my current place. So I'm very fortunate. It's also just a small VR indie dev, and I'm assuming gigantic things like Capcom or, obviously Blizzard has had its own scandals.
It definitely gets worse with scale, it seems like.
Yeah. So, yeah, lucky. But as a gamer, I mean, because I stream now. So luckily, I have, for the most part, avoided, people coming to my channel for the wrong reasons. Because typically the games I'm playing are not currently popular, or, I'm not, I don't have little tongue emotes in my descriptor for my episode.
Yeah. I mean, you stream, but you also show your face.
Yes. Some people do the VTubing, which, very intentionally can be hypersexual. Well, yours is cute, but but even for me, being a chick who plays games, even just friendship and stuff it's kind of frustrating. Or just because you're a chick who plays games that people I don't know, you just want to be friends with everyone, and they don't have those same intentions.
Yeah, it's so be normal interactions.
Yeah, or it's just always different. Like not perceived the way if you were playing with another dude. My rant. But yeah, so that's our recap of episodes 3 and 4. We've gotten a few reviews.
Yeah,
totally all unsolicited. Not by us or my mom.
There's nothing wrong with asking for reviews. Listen, you all know the gig economy. You all understand that reviewing, you always rate your reviews for like your drivers and stuff 5 stars, because you know that anything less than that is bad, because we live in a stupid world run by stupid losers who don't understand how rating works, because these companies are trash.
Yeah, I just have terrible time asking for things from people.
I don't. So, please rate us 5 stars on your podcast platform.
We're on all the things: Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Amazon Music.
We did get a comment on Apple Podcasts that I can read out.
Okay.
By the way, if this is a maneuver I stole from Range Touch. So, if you like more podcasts, Range Touch, thank you for letting me steal this. This is from Bev. This is 5 stars.
Oh, who could that
What
be?
an awesome conversation and introduction to anime. Such fun and knowledgeable hosts. Can't wait to hear more. Thank you, Bev.
Yeah.
If you'd like me to read something, then leave a 5-star review.
Do you know who that is?
I don't know who that is.
It's my mom.
If you want me to read things from your mom, please
make your mom listen.
In a comment. I don't know. Does Spotify have comments? Do you just have...
No, it's... okay, so you can rate with the stars, and then I can either... I don't know if we want to... I did a custom question, but you can add a question for people to reply to on Spotify. Like my first episode, I said, is Ichan creepy or not? And that was the question.
Okay.
So I was going to try and think of one specific to each episode we're covering. But the default is just like, what are your thoughts on this episode?
So, listen, we're trying to game the algorithm, right? I'm sure that participating in polls like boosts our rankings in the algorithm. So if you listen on Spotify, please participate in the polls. Yeah. That probably does something. Yeah. If you're on Apple Podcasts, leave a comment, because I think that does something. It doesn't even have to just type button mash. I don't care. Just leave a comment. I think that's what matters. If you're on something else, then let me know what that is, because I don't know what the other ones are. There's probably some way. If you think you can manipulate the algorithm in our advantage, I would do that.
Let's say that the goal of our podcast as an intro to shoujo anime is to get people like my mom and grandma to comprehend what shoujo is.
We have to do more explainers about, like...
Yeah.
That's fine.
I mean, honestly, I feel like most people who would organically find the show are going to be more into anime and already know these things, but we don't want to exclude anyone who maybe is not one of those people, because I know other podcasts that recap things that the people listening don't actually consume the thing they're discussing.
Yeah, well, I mean, like, if I tried listening to some of the other like shoujo in the name podcasts, and some of them like only cover like manga and stuff, so I'm just looking at the ones that, a lot of them are very positive.
Yes, they're all very upbeat and cutesy, and I think we're gonna bring a more like...
We're gonna be a little bit more critical. We're gonna talk about misogyny in esports.
Yeah.
I don't think they're doing that. Maybe they are. I don't know.
I think I don't know, maybe we're just not as serious, or we're just having fun. So we have a trailer now that I just clipped together from our last episode and our little demo episode for those of you who did not have the pleasure of listening to that in whole. So send that to people if you want to try and get them into shoujo. I think we should do, maybe for each episode we have something we recommend.
Oh, okay, sure.
Like it could be a show or a book or another podcast, whatever. That's a nice way to kind of call out other creators of things. And
yeah, okay.
People might be looking for other content to consume.
Yeah, I wouldn't have to do it like in the middle of my discussions of a thing if we have it at the end. I guess I can go ahead and do mine.
Okay.
Game Studies Study Buddies is a podcast where they read academic book about game studies, which sounds like it might be kind of boring, but that includes things like gaming sexism, which they just did. It's very good. This is it's the podcast network called Range Touch. They do a lot of really interesting stuff. This one is like, what if we took academic studies and made them accessible to people that are mostly about video games, but also have range into other stuff. It's very good. If you listen to that, you'll notice a lot of the things I say that feel like salesmanship comes from them. I'm just cribbing it from them, basically word for word. I'm sure it's fine. But yeah, it's really good. You should give it a listen, because if you want to try something new, it's a really good way of trying something new.
Nice. Okay, I'm gonna recommend a game. I recently played a game called WitchSpring R, which I guess is a series of games that used to be mobile, and this is the first kind of full-blown dedicated game that's on Steam, and it's really freaking cute. It's about this young witch. She lives in a forest that, it's apparent that it's kind of a different dimension from the human world, and she kind of raised herself, and she named herself Pieberry because she loves pies and strawberries, and she just kind of eventually leaves that little space she grew up knowing, and there's like a grand adventure and friends and growth, and it's really, really freaking cute, and I love it. Let me double check that name.
Recommend something with the wrong name. We can maybe link to this stuff in the episode
WitchSpring R. Yeah, that's true. Okay.
That sounds fun.
It's really good. I highly, highly recommend it. It just came out, I think, in September of 2023. It's just very endearing, and if you like shoujo, you would definitely, or if you just like kind of cutesy, it almost has similar vibes to, was it Atelier series? It's like a alchemy.
Oh, this is cute. I'm looking at it.
Yeah, isn't it?
There's a mech. Hold on. Is there a mech?
It's like a golem.
Am I seeing
thing.
this right? It's got huge shoulder cannons.
I love it so much. It was just like a delightful game. It took me about 25 hours to complete, and I didn't do everything.
I might be checking this out later.
Like, if you could hug a game, I just want to hug that game. Just a cozy but combat, potion crafting, character
There's a mech
growth.
and she fights a dragon.
Yeah, fantastical elements. But yeah, that's my recommendation. I will link these in the episode description. And thanks for listening to our second episode of Shoujo.
Oh, we never came up with an outro.
Do we need an official one? I mean, I think we're covering all the things slowly.
We could just say like a little funny thing.
Such as?
Imagine if esports were good.
What, an outro specific to each episode?
Yeah, just say a phrase out of nowhere. Word for thought.
Let's see. If only the world didn't suck. Imagine how great things would be.
We're really not going to be the upper shoujo podcast.
Hey, we're bringing something different.
Yeah, being sad. We're bringing pessimism to the shoujo space. For too long, these people have been happy. And we're like, really? About this? Come on.
Oh, yeah, that's right. That's right.
Bringing the negativity. Bringing the tired energy to shoujo.
Join us next time where we see Misaki and Hikaru and their next Angelic Layer fight or whatever. I'm not going to reveal what the next episode's about because you guys stay tuned to Shoujo to learn.
Episode 5 and 6 next time.
Yep, on Shoujo. Don't miss out.
Oh, our sign-off should be, like, we should come up with our own fake thing to throw our doll in. Like
when
they say their little phrases to throw it into the layer?
Yeah. Our entry phrase. What, do we have like a collective doll, or we each have our own doll we're throwing in?
I think the doll should be called Shoujo. Here we go. Here's mine.
Okay, let's hear it.
Scorch the skies, Shoujo. Rain down misery upon them. How's that?
That's great. Mine was probably going to be, very like self-doubting. Like, here's hoping we can win. Shoujo, go.
I would say that, and then the doll would be like the tiniest, like pinkest, like least threatening looking thing ever.
Yeah, it would just like have bad posture and look at the ground.
It just has bad posture. It's just a person who pulls an all-nighter, is like hunched over a cup of coffee.
Yes. Okay. Till next week. Hopefully the world gets a little better.
You can't. That's our new sign off. If you say till next week, you're saying the sign off.
Okay. I can edit this out. Okay.
Till next week, we'll edit this out. All right. Bye, everyone.